So, we are discussing about input, output, stream concept to handle the different ways of inputs and outputs to and fro from Java programs. So far we have discussed mainly the two categories. One is called the byte stream class concept to handle the input output, and then character stream classes for handling the same. Apart from these two things, there is one more concept, it is called the random access file mechanism. So, by the name random access you can understand that in case of the other stream that we have learned so far, they are sequential in nature. Sequential in nature means that you can read one item and then only the next contiguous item can be. It is not possible to change the file location, or we can say more precisely pointer of the file from one point to another point randomly. So, this way these are the two things are different. So, in many situations the sequential stream access is work for us, but there are some situations where we need to access the file in a random way. So, our today's topic includes the random access file mechanism in a program. Now, as the name implies, so the random access implies that we can move the file pointer according to our own requirement. So, this is the main difference between the stream classes like input stream and output stream that we have already learned, then the random access mechanism. And another one important difference between the sequential stream versus this random access is that in case of all the classes that we have learned so far, the sequential streams are concerned, they are basically can be opened in only one mode, either read mode or write mode. So, in case of read mode it basically used as an input, and in case of write mode it is used only for the output. But random access can provide us to do the things together, read and write simultaneously. So, we will see exactly how this random access file mechanism works for us in Java program. Now, so far the random access file is concerned, the file system is the class mechanism is very simple. Here we see this is the class called the random access file. It has only two types, data input and data output. So, if we create any object of the type say random access file, then this object can take the input and the output. So, this is the concept there. So, it is very simple. Now, we will see by means of an illustration only how this this class works. Actually, the methods those are there so far reading and writing is concerned is basically same here in this case also. So, I do not want to repeat all the method, for example, read, read int, read double, write, write double, like this, all those methods are there. And again I want to mention is that using this random access file we can write or we can read in any form, whether it is a byte form or a character form. So, basically we can say a random access file concept is a general overall file concepts. It can be used either read or write mode. It can be used to access the items in a byte stream form or a character string form like this, and it is also simultaneous both input and output it is there. So, it is basically more generalized form is there. So, some people can work only with the random access file to do it, but so far other speed and all these thing is concerned or other input mechanism is concerned, it is basically other input stream is better than random access file. It is usually good or easy to learn for a programmer, but so far the application point of views other stream classes are more preferable than this one. Anyway, so let us see let us have an example and we have to watch this example little bit carefully, because I did not mention about what are the methods are there. With this illustration only I want to point out what are the different methods are there. Now, this is the one program that I have planned for you to explain how the random access file works, or how you can use a random access file in your program. So, here I first create one object of the type random access file. So, here is basically, if you see, this is the class and this is the object that I have created, this is the object of the type random access file. So, I have just declared an object, the name of the object is in this case is file, and this object is of type random access file. I think this is clear. Okay. Now, let us see, I just establish a connection from this object file to one file which is stored there in the memory. Now, here you see our next statement is for this one. So, this statement file equals to new random access file, we pass this one. Now, this is the name of the file which we want to use as a random access file, and here you can see it has the two parameters. So far this constructor is concerned, and this is called read write. This means that we can access this as a read or write. Now, instead of RW, if we write only R, then this file will be opened as a read mode. Also, we can access this file as a W mode only, then in that case this file will be opened as a write mode. So, in this case we open the file as a read write mode. Now, another one important thing is that this is the file we are assuming that already is available. If the file does not exist, then obviously using these things a file will be created automatically for you. Again, if a file is already exist, this file can be created using any either data in output stream or read buffer, write buffer concept, that means character stream classes. So, whatever the way this file is there, absolutely this is not an issue. It is not that this file should be created using the random access file concept. Whatever the mechanism, if the file is created, even this file also can be created using your editor like Notepad++ or any other things also. Even this file can be an image file, this file can be a video file also. Absolutely this is not the issue there. Anyway, we assume that a file is already exist, and let us give the name of the file as ran.dat. Okay, so, with this statement we can create a connection, the connection to the actual the file physically, which is the file, and name of this object which basically connects from our program to this one is called file. Now, here you can see few statements. What we can do is that write char, this is the one method, and then the argument is x, this basically ASCII value of the character x. So, what is the idea? It is that this method write char will write this x into the file object. Now, where it will write? It will write there where the file position is currently located. At the beginning, whenever we create this file, it is that default the file location is at the very beginning, that means at the 0th position, what we can say. So, this means that this character x will be stored in the 0th location of the file. Now, next, now we write another item called the write int. So, the write int basically write this value as an integer and write into the file. So, where it will be write? It will write after the x exactly. So, if it is 0, then the position of this value will be in the 1th location. Next, we see we again write into the same file objects, and is a double. So, this is a double and it will write there. So, after this writing 3 elements into the file, this go to the 0 element, this go to 1 and this go to 2. Now, let us see, there is another method called the seek method. So, what the seek method is basically, this is a very useful and very important one method. This method basically allow a programmer to move the file pointer at any location where the programmer wants to do that. Now, so seek method is basically is seek or positioning the pointer into a location. Now, this parameter is very important. So, parameter is basically stated where we want to place the file pointer location, right. Now, here file seek 0, this means that we want to locate the file position at the 0th one. So, in this case 0, 1, 2, that means file pointer will locate at this position where the x is written there in the file, this file is ran.dat. So, it is basically in other words, so file seek 0, we can say that file pointer will locate into the very beginning of the file. So, this way we can move the file pointer, we will see about positioning the file pointer more. Now, here again see, so this is the 0th, 1, 2th, and here system.out.println file read char. So, which character it will read? Because we have already positioned our file pointer at 0 location, and at the point file dot read character, this actually this. So, file dot read character means it will read the character at the 0th location. Now, so it will read basically x, and here again once it is read, automatically file pointer will move to the next location. So, here again if we issue the next statement like file read dot int, then it will basically read this one. Again after reading this integer, it will go to the next location, that means it is where this value is stored. So, it will go here again. So, this one will read to the next one. So, this will read the element which is the 0th position of the file, this will read the element which is first position, then second position, and so on, so on. Now, so this way we will be able to move the file pointer automatically. Now, again here if you want to move the file pointer explicitly, then we can again issue the seek command. So, here seek 2, this means that file pointer will move 0 and 1. So, this location go to the second item. So, this is basically indicates that file pointer will go to the first second item, that means this is the second item. Okay. So, this way we can move it, and then if you read in, it will read the integer value there. Now, here again we can move our file pointer randomly, and as we move it, and from that pointer we can read any value there. Now, whatever the reading is concerned, there is little bit formalities that you have to mention. Suppose at a particular location you have stored an integer and you want to read as you say double, then actually it will result an error. So, this should not be correct actually. So, if it is an integer pointing it, so you should read that value as a proper read method. So, no other method is allowed. If you do it, then this will lead to an error, and that is obviously should be handled the way with exception handling mechanism. Now, so we have learned about how to write something into a random access file. Also, we have learned about how to read something from the file, and also we have learned about how the file pointer can be moved across the file. Now, here again there is a many more. So far the seek is concerned, here you say file seek file dot length. So, this is basically whatever the size of the file at the moment, file dot length will return this one, and then it seek means it basically says that the file position file pointer will be positioned at the very end. So, this basically seek this one, it basically places the file location at the very end of the file, and once this is again write boolean. So, again we are writing something in the form of boolean, and this is the value that we want to write. So, false. So, it will basically write at the very end of the file, and file seek 4 is basically positioned into the 4th item in the file. So, it is the file seek 4, and that is the usual method is that f close, that means once every operations are over, then you should close this file, and then all these things should be put as we have mentioned here under the try catch block to catch any exception if any occurs while you are either opening the file or closing the file, or you are reading or writing into the file or from the file. So, that is why the try catch block is must. If you do not put the try catch block, so compiler will report an error, you will not be able to run the program actually. So, this is the mandatory thing that you should do. So, this is the idea about random access file. I hope you have learned that how the random access file to be managed, and what are the methods are there, very simple, and whatever the way that the file can be opened and it can be closed, is very simple. It is as usual the earlier method, and we have already understood about this one. Now, likewise also we have considered here reading integer format or double format or character format. Right away also you can read or write into the other format like byte format, UTF format and many other format. Absolutely it is more flexible, it will allow you to do whatever the way you want to do. And here is another example that you can see. It is basically just example that okay, it can also be used as a byte stream mechanism like byte stream OA, and let us see the program here. And this is the again I am just creating one object R file of the type random access file in this program, and so R file is the object is to be operated using the random access file concept. Now, I have just create this file object first, establish a connection, let the ct.text is the file to be operated using random access file. We create this object using read write method. So, you declare the R file and once the object is instantiated. So, this is the completion of the object R file in the mode of random access file. Now, here you can see R file seek R file dot length, you understand what it does mean? It means that whatever the location it will go to the beginning, go to the end of the file. Now, in this case at the opening, so if there is no content, so it is at the beginning is the same as at the opening. Now, here if suppose ct.text already has certain data. So, by means of this seek method R file dot length, it basically go to the file pointer at the end of the file. So, that is why we have there, assuming that this file already have certain data. And then write byte, as you know it is just like earlier write int, write double, write char, like this one, it is basically write byte. So, this is the value that it will write. So, it is in the byte form. So, automatically Java system, Java runtime manager will convert this string into the byte form, and then that value will be appended at the end of the R file, and finally we close the R file. And as I told you, everything the operation whatever it is there should be put under try catch. So, I just put under try catch. So, in that case the general exception that may occur is basically input output exception. So, it is called the IOE. So, this is the way that the random access file can be used. Actually, it is very much similar to whatever the method other classes that we have already discussed for byte stream as well as for character stream classes. So, that is why I do not want to discuss much more about this one. More about this random access file we will be able to learn when we will discuss about the demonstration giving some more programs in this regard. So, this is about random access file concept. Now, whatever the input output stream we have learned so far, mainly byte stream, character stream and then random access, whatever it is there, you can use them, and you also use them in an interactive input output command. That means, you can do one thing, you can ask the command right away. The general program is that what is your input, you can give a prompt to the user, user will understand about what is the input to be. For example, enter your name. So, user can understand that okay, in this case I should enter the name. You can then enter your name within 20 characters. So, user understand that user has to enter a string of length less than 20 characters like this one. So, this is basically called the prompt should be given. According to the prompt, user will enter something, and then accordingly the data will be collected, whether this data can be collected from the standard keyboard or can be from the file or can be from other network channel, whatever it is there, it is called the pipe. So, this is the idea about the interactive one. I am just going to give a very simple one illustration about interactive input output using the concept of data output stream class. So, here the idea it is that it will give a prompt what to do, user will accordingly work on that, give an action, reply to the action, and then accordingly the program will write it. So, let us have the quick demo about this program here. Now, here is the program as we see in this program. So, we have created one class called inventory, and next statement you can understand what we have done is data input stream class. I have created one data input stream class here. So, this is the data input stream class. For this class we have created object DIN, that means this is the name of the objects, and data input stream system.in. This means what? This means that we have created an object of the class data input stream, and this object is now ready to read something from the system.in. Here the system.in means that we want to read from the standard input. So, standard input means keyboard. Now, here we want to read a particular item from the keyboard, we will read it as a stream. So, for these things in the java.util package there is a class called stream tokenizer. It will basically read a stream as a token. So, that is why it is called the stream tokenizer. Whatever the input you write, it is a general form of giving input or treating input, not that integer, not that character, not that double, not that other thing. So, whatever you give it, it can be considered as a stream, and then stream tokenizer, and then return it, and then later on we can change into the format whatever the way we want. Now, here see how we can do all these things here. So, we first create an object called string tokenizer, and this is the name of the string. So, basically it is a temporary buffer. In earlier example we use similar kind of buffer to store a string value. So, similarly temp string like. So, it is like that. Now, this is the main method. Now, in this main method we create another stream called data output stream, that means whatever the things will read from the standard keyboard, it will write into this file. So, invent data. So, this is the file where we want to write something, that means upon reading something from the standard input we want to write into a file. It is not that we are writing into standard output or display. So, in that case okay. So, so this is the two objects, one data input stream objects and data output stream objects. The two objects are created for input stream and output stream, that means reading from and then writing into. Now, next few statements is basically give a prompt here, enter code number. So, then once the code number is there, then this is the read line, that means whatever the data it is entered from the keyboard, the entire data will be read from the that source. And so, this is the DN is basically the input object, it is there, that means it will read from the standard input and read a line, and then string tokenizer will take this value and then change into the string form and store into ST. So, basically it read whatever you enter, code number is basically maybe a digits and whatever it is there, but it will store as a string. Now, in the next statement as we see st.next token. So, it is basically read the next items whatever it is there, and then integer dot parseInt, that means it will change whatever the string that you have written into an integer and you will store in code. So, basically code is now whatever the user enter, it store as an integer into this form. Now, again enter number of items. So, again another input the user will provide from the keyboard, it will read from the keyboard and store into S2, and then again st next token, it will basically read this token, convert into integer and then store into items. So, here we can see that code and items are read from the keyboard. Then again another input enter cost. So, again string tokenizer didn't read, it read, and here you have to convert in the float. So, cost. So, in the so far we have read 3 items, code as an integer, items as an integer and cost as a double. So, once these are the 3 values are collected from the keyboard, our next is that how we can push it into the output object, namely the DOS, that means how you can write all these values into a file. So, here is the method how we can do it. So, you can see this is the next part of the program. As you see in this program, DOS is basically the objects for output stream, and we just write all the values that we have written according to their format. For example, the first item the code read as a write int, the second item also write int, the third item also write double. Once all the values are written, we close the output stream. Now, so this is basically the way how the output input, I mean taking using prompt from the keyboard collecting this one and then finally writing into there. So, this kind of usually application is many more frequent and common whenever you have to develop any application like. Now, again here what we are doing, you see inventor data is already created by storing this on the file. We again create it, that means we want to see, we want to read it again whether this. Now, this is again creating another dis inventor dot. Now, here also there is another way that we can do it. So, code number we are reading as a read int directly from this read int and the read double, and then we also calculate total cost and close this one, and once read is complete we again complete it. So, this is basically another way. So, earlier is basically use the stream tokenizer, here we are showing the different way how we can read directly from this one, no stream form. It is basically if we read, if we know the format directly we can use it like this one. So, these are the common method that is there in this class data input stream. So, this is a second method or alternative approach to read the values interactively, and then once the read is there we just ds close means closing the stream, and then again same thing we are doing here, writing it. So, is basically whatever the things that we read it into the data input stream, same is basically displaying into the standard output. Here the standard output means the display. So, it is basically display all the value that we have read it there. Oh, so okay, we have done about the interactive way of input and output that is possible in Java program, and now we are going to discuss one more interesting application of this, is basically called graphical input and output concept. Now, what is the idea about that? Okay, this idea is very simple, and regarding these things actually our next part of the lectures, next few modules actually we have planned to do it, but I will give just a simple introduction to this concept. It is very simple to understand at this moment, although many more things we have to learn while we will progress further. So, idea about this graphical input output is okay, can be better explained in this example here. So, this is the one window, okay, and we can say it is basically the window for text entry things, or you can say it is a frame or form. It is just like an applet actually. We have some idea about the applet only. Anyway, so this is also we can consider an applet here. Now, if we see this is an applet, it has many items in it. So, items means all the applet items that we can classify into there. Here this is the one item we call it is a button, and this is another button. So, this applet has two buttons at the bottom. The buttons are labeled as enter and done. So, two buttons. Other than two buttons, it has also another three elements here. This is the elements, it is called the text entry field, and this the text entry field means it is the area where user can type something, and this is basically label for this text entry field. So, similarly, the second text entry field and the label is this one, and this is the third text entry field, this is the label 1. So, in this basically applet there are actually if we consider it as a grid. So, there are 4 rows are there and 2 columns are there. So, it is basically 4 cross 2 grid actually we can see. Now, so out of these 4 cross 2 grids, right, there are 3 text entry fields and 2 buttons. This is very simple one idea about it there. Now, so this once this windows is displayed to the user, then user can type his roll number, can name, and then marks. One all the values are entered, then if the user can click done. So, this means whatever the input that you have entered, it will be collected, and then once it is collected, it should be stored somewhere. So, that can be stored in any output stream classes or in a random access file or in a character stream file, whatever it is there. So, this is the mechanism that I am going to explain you, that how graphically the user can enter some input and then some same input can be collected, and finally, the input can be stored into the program, and this program can be repeated whatever the entries user wants to do, and once the user want to finish it. So, this will select the done button. So, enter button means enter the record, sorry, and then done button means when user wants to exit from the entry system. So, this is the concept it is here. Now, let us have some program regarding these things, how this program also many things we should assume it, and whenever we will follow applet and then many other concept, then all those things will be clearly understandable. Anyway, so just for the for the sake of interesting point only, I just want to have include this discussion. So, this is the one program. I will briefly tell about what exactly the program is doing for us. So, in this program here we can see, first we declare one class called student file frame and is extend frame. This frame is basically is an AWT package which is not yet discussed, we will discuss of course. So, this is basically one class which basically allow you to create a frame actually. So, the last window that I told you, it is basically is an example of a frame with 4 cross 2 grids. Now, so we create two things. First, text field, there are 3 text field, number, name and marks. Here basically student roll number, name and then marks are need to be stored here, and these are 2 button as I have enter and 2 button that we have already told you, and these are the label. So, num label is basically for the number and name label is for the name and marks for the marks label. So, these are the different variables that is required in this frame, and finally, data output stream DOS is basically we declare the stream objects which is basically for storing the data permanently in a file. Now, here this is the one constructor as we have declared here, student file is a constructor, this constructor, and then this basically create student file. So, basically just it will basically give the idea about that this is the create student file is the menu there. And then the setup is another method that we are going to discuss shortly. This is basically the setup method. We will create whatever the frame it is there, allow user to enter the values and then collect it and store it. Now, resize is basically sizing of the applet, how big you want to have it. Set layout, as you see it is called the grid. So, there are actually mechanism using grid layout 4 cross 2 grid, that means total 8 elements can be placed in the applet. This is the idea about. So, this is the total way of creating the applets in our program, and once the applet is ready, then we have to place the different item here. So, these are the few steps as we see. This basically for the number text field, size is 25 and this is a label is roll number. So, this basically the first text field for displaying in the applet, and this is for the second text field and this is for the third text field. So, this is the idea about the 3 text fields, and finally, there are 2 buttons having label and enter and done is to be placed there. One, all these items are created, this is called the different components in this applet created. We have to add the component into the applet. So, these are the command for adding all the component everything into that. So, they will automatically fix in the applets, and then finally, the applet will look the way as we have already shown it to you. So, this way and then finally, the show method is basically once the all items are being placed into the applet, it will basically display as an user. So, this is basically as a part of the init method, those are there in applet actually. Now, once this applet is ready, therefore, once this applet is ready, what we have to do is that we have to add the records one by one. So, for these things what we have, so data output streams already you have created, and that DOS is the object for that, and let us see student.data is the file where you want to store the data. And then here is basically how we can add the record into the file. So, add record, basically these are the temporary value num double D. So, num is basically collecting the value from the text field area as an integer value. So, this is the usual syntax is that int value it will read, and from the get text and then number it basically convert in integer and finally store as a integer, and then it basically DOS write int. So, num will be int, and then DOS write UTF name. So, it will read from the text field area name and is a write UTF and then store it, and then finally, it will read the double the marks and read at the value and write this value into the object DOS. and here is basically once a particular record is entered. So, this will basically clean up. So, this is the method that clean up will do that. So, add record, once the record is added, so it will clean up and then finally flush and then close. So, the output system will be closed. So, this is basically a skeleton of the program, and finally, once it is done we have to call the method as a final method, but there actually two events is required, one action event object O, it is basically to dealing with entering, whether you click done or click exit it will do there. So, it is basically two events for entering and another event for done, it is basically button event. So, regarding button event we will discuss more in details whenever we will discuss about handling applets. So, this will done and finally, it will come to the main method. So, main method will just simply create this object student file and it call the setup method, which we have already discussed there. That means, this will display the total applet and then ready for your work. User will enter as long he wants till he finish button, click the button done and then go on entering, and for each entry there will be enter click, it will go to the next cleaning the all text field area and so on so on. So, this is a very simple program which is simple, but yet effective to develop any what is your text entry system or data entry system in any application. So, this is about graphical input output concept, and I just don't want to discuss this one. So, we have learned about graphical user interface concepts. There are many more sophisticated programming in this area of graphical user interface, which we will discuss in our next module. Thank you.